to you as it is, you analyze it the way you want to analyze it. Then he said that he was not a prostitute, of course. He denied that. Secondly, he said that the minute he sat down in my car, he said, I pulled a gun and pointed it to his head. Then I asked the question, okay, well, after I supposedly pulled the gun to your head, what did you do then? He said, I put on my seatbelt. There was an audible gasp in the courtroom. So I said, I don't want to call his name on the air. I just want to have that much respect. It's in the book, but I'm not going to call his last name. I said, Ricardo, so a man has pulled a gun on you. Why would you put your seatbelt on? His answer, quote, because I always put a seatbelt on whether I have a gun to my head or not, end quote. I'm going to leave it at that, okay? That's how the testimony started. And this is what makes me livid. This is what drives me. This is what causes me to want to expose the system as much as I possibly can. Judge Robert Altman is a devil, if you ask me. He knew I didn't do it. See, I can handle a court getting it wrong. I can handle a jury making a mistake. We are humans. That's why we know that this system can never be perfect. Because, I know some people who can lie well enough that they'll make the Pope believe them. So if there are 12 of us sitting on a jury and we have been hoodwinked, we will send an innocent man home sometimes, and sometimes we'll convict a guilty man just because we don't like him, just because of this and just because of that. But I'm telling you, Judge Robert Altman knew that this didn't happen. And this is what bothers me. So before the trial, we found a witness by the name of Brett Nelson. Since it's a fairly typical name, I'll call his entire name. He knew Ricardo, okay? And he said that Ricardo was a prostitute, robbed people all the time, was this, that, and the other. Even better, Brett Nelson lived with Ricardo for a year. So this is a key smoking gun, a key witness. So we informed the prosecutor, due diligence, informed the court, the judge, due diligence, and Brett was scheduled to testify in 2 days at an evidentiary hearing to try to get the case thrown out. Guess what happened? Mary Hanlon, the prosecutor, had all charges dropped against Brett Nelson and gave him a plane ticket to Portland, Oregon, and told him to never come back to California again or he'd be arrested. 1 day prior to his testifying for me, and did not notify us. So when we had the hearing, they pretended not to know where he was. The hearing was dismissed. It was only a year after the trial that I found out what happened to Brett Nelson. They did this because here's the kind of system we have. We have a system that says, let's say your name is John Q. Citizen, and I found out that 8 or 9 years ago you committed a crime that I didn't like. Nothing sexual or sensitive such as that, but whatever. You burglarized somebody's house that I know and got away with it, and I know you got away with it. And let's say you did something else and you got away on a technicality. It's one of those situations where, for example, you had a trunk load of cocaine, but the officer did not have a legitimate reason to stop you. So you get a good lawyer and he gets the case thrown out. And now I'm, as they would say, butthurt because as a cop, I realized that you had a trunk load of cocaine and you got away with it. So this is not a thing that you did not do. You did this. So 4 or 5 years later, a lady comes up and says that you raped her. And now it is a situation that pretty much the evidence tells me you didn't do it. Tells me you all had an argument and you didn't do it. She's just upset. People lie all the time. Unfortunately, people cry rape a lot more than you think they do. Now, again, let me be clear. If a woman or a man is actually raped by an individual, the individual who is a rapist needs to go to jail, period. We could argue all day long about whether he needs to be treated. I think he does while in jail. Whether he needs to get therapy, I think he does while incarcerated. Period. I don't think you should ever be soft on rapists or soft on any other crime. But we need to be pragmatic. Okay? So when people actually do it, no, it is wrong and they need to go to prison. Period. That's number one. But number two, people say that kind of stuff all the time because they're angry or what have you. So back to my story. So now this woman has accused you of this. And it's a situation where I say, you know what? You got away with that cocaine. And I know you burglarized that house 8 or 9 years ago. And those two crimes combined, you would have done 10 years in prison. Got away with that. So now I'm going to push this case all the way through. It's not like I'm the cop forcing her to lie on you. She said it. I'm just going to push the case through as if I believed it. and you go and get convicted and get 20 years in prison for a rape that didn't happen. That kind of thing happens all day long. Now, some people are okay with that. I talked with an officer at Donovan State Prison, Michael Austin, who says he's a Christian. He's okay with that. He considers that to be justice. You may be okay with it. I am not. I think justice is the letter of the law. In the military, they call it square corners, the letter of the law, as well as the spirit of the law. The spirit of the law does not say if you get away with something on a technicality and you got away with it, that now later on we can convict you of something you didn't do. A rape. Because when we convict you of that, it will affect the rest of your life forever. So I just wanted you to know why I didn't go to church today. So I should have titled this, Why I Did Not Go to Church Today. And the system has done nothing to help me. Now, what will be so difficult about the system saying when we've kept a man in prison 15 years, we will make sure that when he leaves prison, he has adequate ID so that he can go to the bank and at minimum open a bank account in case he has some money saved up. Ladies and gentlemen, they have it so locked down that you can't spend your own money when you come out of prison. I'm not independently wealthy. I'm not trying to tell you that I have $1 million or anything like that. But what I do have is mine. And I can't touch it. As MC Hammer says, you can't touch this. They're telling me you can't touch this. You can't touch your own money. You can't go to church because we convicted you. And now we're going to make you struggle even more. You've done the time, even though you didn't do the crime. And now we're still milking you and you're still paying after you get out. Sherman D. Manning. Get my book, The Truth About O.J. Simpson, Race, Class, Money, and Justice. If you're watching the FX series on O.J., you definitely need to read this book. Call a friend, email somebody, text message someone, announce it on Facebook. Tell all of your friends to start listening to these podcasts. Sherman D. Manning, www.napsusa.org. That's napsusa.org. Sherman D. Manning signing off for now.